Hello, Johnny DL here. This is another video I'm recording before I go to latitudes, um, just in case I need spare videos for uploading during that week. Um, I'm I've got a list I'm working from, and I'm just trying to think which one might be the best one to do now. I've done 4 out of 9. Um, how about it's only a theory? That's another one I can tick off. Um, I've mentioned in one of the videos I've already recorded today, and I don't know whether it'll go out before or after this one. Either way, the link will be below. That I don't believe in God, and um, and it always amazes me the number of people who can then go from that and argue with you on evolution or any bit of science. And it sort of does drive me a bit crazy the way they will go. But evolution, it's only a theory, or um, it, the Big Bang, it's only a theory. And I have used um, a couple of Tim Minchin jokes about um, gravity and the way that if they think it's only a theory, then they should not believe in the theory of gravity and float the hell away. Um, and while that's all well and good, think it's um, th- I think that we need to teach people what a theory is. Um, now, there are two things in science that um, people who don't do an awful lot of science tend to confuse. One is a theory, and the other is a hypothesis. Um, Let me say that again because it is incredibly fun to say, and I think that it's going to sound incredibly weird with my lisp. So that's hypothesis. um, I hope you had a giggle about that. Um, so yeah, hypotheses are basically untested theories, and I could say right now that a hypothesis, my hypothesis that is that all elephants are purple, and I could pretty quickly go on Google and disprove that, um, and you could come up with a hypothesis of just about anything you'd like, um, and they're untested statements. Is one way of putting them. But theories, on the other hand, like the theory of evolution or the theory of gravity, or they are tested hypotheses. These are things that have been tested and have shown that they work. They've shown that they stand up and make provable predictions. Um, Now, there are quite a lot of theories, and um, people always say, well, gravity's only a. They say evolution's only a theory, and people point out gravity. And they also point out that scientists are still changing their minds, and it's absolutely right. Scientists do change their minds an awful lot, and it's because theories are still just hypotheses that are being tested. They've just already been tested enough that we treat them as facts. Um, Gravity is a very good theory, but we still test it and revise it and hypothesize about it and change it where we need to. Um, the gravity in day-to-day situations we've got down to a T. The model we have of Newtonian gravity works, and it has done since Newton came up with it. And special relativity, for the most part, that works as well with gravity. The only thing that doesn't work is where we push gravity to the extremes, where things are incredibly close or incredibly large. When we talk about gravity and incredibly large, we talk about things like the Big Bang or black holes. Um, and those things are where gravity does actually start to break. The mathematics we have doesn't seem to work. And we're still improving the theory so that we can try and make some sense of what comes out of these things. Um, and it, it, it baffles me how we can happily, most people can happily accept that um, gravity is a fact, and whilst we're still trying to work on it, while completely denying evolution, which for the vast majority of us, natural selection is a fact. It's something that we can show to work. We can show it working in bacteria. We can show it working in insects. We haven't shown it working in humans yet, on the grounds that there's no way of testing it on a human timescale, on human beings. Um, we look at animals like dogs and we go, there's natural selection there, or human selection there. We can decide how things will evolve. But when they have a much shorter lifespan than ours, when they go from being born to breeding age within a couple of years, or in the case of bacteria, a couple of minutes. Um, and that those are timescales we can work on it, but we can't. There's no feasible way of doing um, genetic research for evolution on human beings, because you'd need to do dozens of generations, and with generations being at least 14 years apart, because females that are born um, take that long to develop. Um, and you wouldn't use a 13-year-old girl anyway. You, it, there are all sorts of ethical dilemmas. There is no way it can be done in a single researcher's lifetime. Um, and there's no way to track it either. You might be able to have a test on, um, have a scientist go out and go, I'm going to go and have sex with a ginger person and have a ginger child and show selection that way. But there's no way to track that over time, because even if they test on themselves, they can't test it on their children, their grandchildren, their great grandchildren, because they might not necessarily be alive, and um, they can't rely on their children to take up the mantle anyway. So these things are, I think they're proven. I mean, we can't. There there hasn't been anything to show that it wouldn't work on species with longer lifespans or differing lifespans to anything else, and we've shown it works in plants um, and other things, and it just annoys me that we have it's only a theory is an excuse for not believing in something. Um, Theories are as close as we will ever get to scientific fact. Um, at least that's what I think anyway. The fact that the speed of light is 300 million meters a minute or something. Um, I think that's right. I could work it out in my head. I'm not going to. It is not actually necessarily a fact. The it's something that comes out of one of Einstein's models, and it works incredibly well. That we can take the speed of light in any reference frame to be a constant, but it doesn't necessarily make it so. Um, just because it's a model that works doesn't make it true. Just as much as gravity breaks down, there are problems with calling things absolute facts. I mean, we are scientists. We are always questioning. We question everything, um, even the things that we assume to be true. Um, it, we could. It's a problem that I have with theists in general. They try and say prove evolution without God. Or one that annoyed me way back was an argument over abiogenesis, the theory that life can come from lifelessness. Um, and they said prove abiogenesis without God, and it's like, no, that's not how it works. You've got to be able to um, prove a theory, prove a hypothesis independent of assumptions, and proving something with or without intelligent design is not removing assumptions. If you try and prove it with intelligent design, then it's not proving it, and if you try and prove it without intelligent design, again, it's not proving it. You you have to take intelligent design out of the equation to do some of these things. Um, the science and spirituality can work in harmony. You can't make the assumption that God is in there or God isn't. If God comes out as a consequence, then that's completely different. But um, it, if you put in God at the beginning, then it change or a lack of God at the beginning, it changes things. Um, so yeah, it's difficult, I suppose, what I'm trying to get across. Um, I think I'll do my abiogenesis talk because I think that it shows an awful lot of um, stuff about life and the fact that we don't actually understand it yet. Um, Otherwise, if you've got any ideas, please comment below. Um, I will get to them as soon as I can. Rate the video and subscribe. Johnny DL out.